The Baldwins. Look, we've lots of kids. Hello, I'm H.G. Tudor. I would encourage you to do so, if you haven't already, to examine my videos about perma-angry narcissist Alec Baldwin and his Spanish character trait acquiring wife, Hilarious Baldwin. You can find the videos in the Baldwin playlist amongst my many, many excellent videos. There, you will receive a detailed analysis of what makes them narcissists, explanation as to how they work together, and also various instances of how we see their narcissism in action as a consequence of various things that have happened. As you know, recently, Alec Baldwin has faced a significant threat to his control as a consequence of the investigation, prosecution, following the death of the member of the crew when the film Rust was being filmed. Baldwin fired the gun that led to the death of that relevant crew member, Helena Hutchins. Civil proceedings have followed, which I understand that Baldwin has dealt with, but there is an ongoing criminal prosecution, which of course acts as a major threat to control to a narcissist. This has also, of course, affected the ability of Baldwin to undertake additional work with this particular cloud hanging over his head. So the potential threat of incarceration as a consequence of this prosecution and the consequential impact upon the ability to work amounts to two threats to his control. Perhaps as a response to that, to seek to nullify that threat to control, then in the circumstances, it would appear that both Alec and Hilaria have gone down the reality television route. According to Emily May Jacor, writing for CBS News, Alec and Hilaria Baldwin announced a new reality show about life with 7 young children. For Alec Baldwin's next role, the actor will play himself in a reality show about his family. The 30 Rock star and his wife Hilaria Baldwin unveiled the first preview of their upcoming TLC series on Instagram Tuesday, with all 7 of their children in tow. Now, pausing there, they do have a lot of children, and apparently, when the two of them were in the early days of love bombing one another, Alec Baldwin said to Hilaria that he wanted to have lots of children with her. Now, ordinarily, such an expression would be viewed as future faking. The suggestion that someone is so desirable that you want to have children with them, and lots of them, would be issued by a narcissist as a means of asserting control over the other person. However, it would appear that that particular narcissist delivered on his promise to give her lots of children, or, I think more likely, that Hilaria Baldwin, as a narcissist herself, utilised getting knocked up as a means to repeatedly assert control over Alec Baldwin by having lots of children with him. Naturally, they are wealthy, and therefore the financial aspects of having 7 children isn't a problem for them. They'll also have hired help with regard to matters such as cleaning, with regard to perhaps having a cook, with regard to having nannies, etc. Therefore, it wouldn't be the burden that it might be for people who are less financially well off than them. But the fact that they have lots of children, of course, provides them with an opportunity to receive fuel from her as non-intimate secondary sources in both of their fuel matrix, and, of course, utilise them for exploitation as a residual benefit. There would be many people governed by their emotional empathy that would never dream of putting their children into any kind of prominent public position. The most might be performing in a local show, but they would recognise the potential downsides to a young child of being exposed to show business. We, of course, do see many instances of those pushy parents that live vicariously through the child as they seek to cause them to harness a particular talent with a view to then receiving stardom and fame and money. Often, there's a narcissist parent driving that child, having no emotional empathy for that child with regard to what the impact of being pushed in this manner, being exposed to the glare of publicity, might have upon them. Instead, it's all about living through that child and securing the prime aims through them. Now, that's not to say that every pushy parent is automatically a narcissist. As always, we have to look at more evidence before making a determination. But in general terms, those that utilize their children in this way are self-centered, self-absorbed, showing reduced or an absence of emotional empathy, as they're treating their children as objects for the utilization of their own aims. We know that Alec Baldwin and his wife, both narcissists, naturally are utilizing their children to pursue the prime aims. There's no doubt that they both believe that they love their children. It's not to suggest that they're abusing them in any way. There's no evidence whatsoever of that. But the fact that they're so willing to allow their lives to be put out there, to allow the filming of their children, some of whom are particularly young, is demonstrative of an absence of emotional empathy and the pursuit of the prime aims. It may well be that the potential absence of work for Alec Baldwin, being a threat to control, he seeks to nullify this by signing up for this reality program. And it doesn't matter that this will involve the exposure of his children, perhaps at an age when they're not in a position to be able to do anything about it, to be able to handle the exposure in a mature and meaningful way. They don't care about that. All that matters is this subconscious need for controlling an audience, receiving fuel from them, and of course the residual benefit of the money that is made. Apparently there was a video which was just less than a minute, and it begins with the Baldwins introducing themselves while sitting side by side on a couch and teasing an announcement to be made. At her husband's cue, Hilaria Baldwin notes that the news they plan to share has nothing to do with growing their tribe. Definitely not. We're done having kids, she quips, as the video segues into a montage of brief scenes depicting joyful chaos. Young Baldwin kids scream, laugh, run, play fight, throw themselves atop furniture, and eventually settle down to pose for various family photographs. The scenes seem plucked from a reel of home videos. Thus, something that was personal and private is deemed appropriate to share with the world, once again demonstrating that absence of boundary recognition. We're inviting you into our home to experience the ups and downs, the good, the bad, the wild, and the crazy, says Alec Baldwin in the teaser. Home is the place we love to be the most. The video wraps up with all 9 Baldwins attempting to sign off in unison. We are the Baldwins, we've all got to say it, Hilaria tells the group. They do say it, along with improvised shouts from some of the boys. And we're coming to TLC, Alec finishes. God help you all. The reality show is set to air on TLC in 2025. According to the Instagram post, promotional material from the network has the series' working title as The Baldwins. Imaginative. Alec and Hilaria Baldwin married almost 12 years ago, in June 2012. Since then, the couple has welcomed new additions to their family every year or so, with the youngest now being 20-month-old Ilaria Catalina Arena. They also share Maria Lucia Victoria, age 3, Eduardo Pau Lucas 3, Romeo Alejandro David, 6, Leonardo Angel Charles, 7, Rafael Thomas, 8, and Carmen Gabriela, 10. This week's glimpse at the Baldwin's new reality series comes as Alec Baldwin faces an indictment for involuntary manslaughter in the death of cinematographer Helena Hutchins in 2021 while rehearsing on the set of the Western movie Rust in New Mexico. The case is set to go to trial this summer after a New Mexico judge recently rejected Baldwin's request, nullification of threat to control, to dismiss the sole charge against him. He has repeatedly denial, the first line of the twin lines of the narcissistic defence, that he was responsible for the shooting that killed Hutchins and injured the Rust director Joel Souza. Thus, 2 narcissists utilising their family life and children for the purposes of the pursuit of the prime aims. We, of course, will see what will happen in the trial of Baldwin. Undoubtedly, there'll be much of his narcissism on display there. And you've got the the delight of the Baldwins to come next year. I'm H.G. Tudor. Thank you for listening.